So many of us are glued to how the housing market is going, so we're happy to have experts with us in studio this morning. Say hello to Todd Hyatt and Wendy Howard from Bluegrass Realtors.
Hello, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
So we just wrapped up the first few weeks of 2025. The housing market is staying strong in most categories. What exactly are you both seeing?
Well, housing in 2024 was up 2%. Doesn't sound like a big number, but December we saw an increase of sales of 11%, and that was followed up in January by a 9% increase. So sales are still strong. From a median price standpoint, for the last 71 months, we have seen prices increase throughout our marketplace. We saw an 8% rise in 2024, and that's been followed up by a 9% rise in January of this year. Now, on a positive side for buyers, we have seen inventory levels increase. Year over year for the past 15 months, we've seen those increases. We've got more inventory now than we've had in the last 4.5 years, but it's still not enough. Demand is still very high, and our inventory levels are low, and we need that increased inventory to balance out the market. But we're not there yet, but we're getting there.
Wendy, certainly the interest rate plays a huge factor in the selling of homes.
Yes.
How's that looking, and what do you anticipate in the near future?
Well, I don't see interest rates going down. I do, yes, sorry. I do think they're going to stay pretty steady for the remaining year. So.
Yeah, and they don't anticipate, rates really dropping. The experts, a lot of people think that when the Fed cuts rates, that mortgage interest rates are going to drop, and there's really not a direct correlation there.
What's the rate right now about?
It's right around 6.5.
6.5,
yeah.
All right.
And we actually have seen, at least over the last week, rates are at the lowest point that they've been in the last 2 months. Our national economist, or our chief economist with the National Association of Realtors, feels like they're going to settle in 5.5 to 6.5%. If you talk to a lot of the lenders, they think that 6.5 is where it's going to be. But historically, that's still a great rate.
I feel like a lot of times when people talk about the housing market, and you might not like this term, but everyone's like, it's either a buyer's market or a seller's market. You mentioned positives for both ends of the spectrum. So what does this kind of mean overall for those, though? Well,
from a seller's perspective, obviously when you look at the increased median sales price that we've had for 71 months, which is a long time, prices continue to rise. Supply and demand's we're not going to see much of a change in that. So from a seller's perspective, equity buildup is still good when they get ready to sell their house. From a buying perspective, you have to look at the positive of the fact that we have more inventory now. So there are more options. There were buyers that were frustrated because there just wasn't a lot of things for sale. We're not where we need to be, but there's more things out there now than what we've seen in the past few years. So that's a positive note for the buyers. I think buyers need to be ready and prepared so that when they get out in the marketplace, they're ready to put that contract on a house and be ready to move forward. But if you look at 71 months of price increases, the time to do it is now. Really.
Better late than never.
That's right.
Wendy, in the time we have left, Bluegrass Realtors and Realtors in general have a focus on giving back to their communities. We understand that that's the case right now. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Bluegrass Realtors is giving back to the community by offering Good Neighbor grants. And this is giving back to organizations that do good work in extraordinary ways within our 38 counties. We're giving 10 $1,000 grants to these organizations that are incorporated in Kentucky, along with being exempt 501, 509 for the IRS code. So we have a selection committee that will go through and notify those at the end of April. We do want them to be related to real estate, whether that's housing, sheltering, or other related needs within our communities, or 38 counties.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you both for not only giving back to the community, but bringing some knowledge to me, at least, regarding the housing market, and I'm sure many others.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, we'll see how it all plays out. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have 30 more minutes of news, including Trivia Thursday. Have you ever watched us play that?
No.
She usually loses.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. joking.
No, he's not kidding.
I'm joking.
He's not kidding.
We're
I'm a
back
big
with more
loser in
after this.
trivia.